Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you're watching this, and welcome to the Down the Lane Forum, where me and Miles can talk about a 4-2 victory. One of our guests, Tom, who's telling us that he's won 9-4 on aggregate from Torquay, will talk about them getting beat yesterday. And we've obviously got James Lampard here from Dorking, who we will be facing on Tuesday. So, good afternoon, guys.
Hello, mate.
Hope you are.
Hello, Barry.
Hope we are all well.
Afternoon.
So, Miles, we go straight to you. Obviously, 4-2 win at home yesterday against Torquay. Um, obviously, we haven't yet touched on the subject because we were quite busy last week of Tommy actually leaving the club. So it was Robbie Blake's first game in charge. How did you think he did?
First of all, who saw that coming? Not us, that's for sure. Yeah, it was absolutely superb, wasn't it? It was great to see the boys playing with confidence, freedom, belief from minute one. I thought the fans on the whole pretty much got behind the side, which we haven't seen really at all at Priory Lane. So that was excellent. And I thought even when we went sort of down to 1-0, still shows from our fight was brilliant, because the amount of times at home we were being 1-0 up, we then conceded to a better side, because let's be honest, there's a lot of better teams than us in this league. And then we've absolutely crumbled, but then just push on in the second half and get the second and third goal. I mean, the fourth goal sort of came from, I guess, Torquay desperation at that point. But particularly to be 3-1 up was absolutely excellent. Fought to a man, pretty much. They were superb. Especially the captain, Harry Phipps, and Eastman's. They were absolutely brilliant. Eastman and May controlled the midfield so well. I said it on the Talkie Talk, a little preview write-up I did, that when they play together, we're such a better side. We just sort of won every sort of second ball, especially second half. Controlled the play well, and then ultimately used the wide players quite well, I thought, as well. Grout popping up with a goal. Corbett didn't quite have the end product, but I thought he looked quite lively. And then when you play George up front and he's central to the play, he makes stuff happen with 2 goals and 1 assist. So all round brilliant afternoon. Robbie should be really proud. They've had 3 days to get his ideas, his messages, his philosophy across. It's early days. It could be a flash in the pan. It could be a new manager bounce, but we've got to try and ride the high now as a fan base, I feel, and really use that momentum to push on. It's a short turnaround to Dorking, and then we've got a massive game down at Hampton. So hopefully it's a springboard for the last 13 games to get behind the boys. There's a lot of blame flying around the season, a lot of people having different opinions on things, and I've certainly not been quiet in my thoughts towards the boards, manager, and players. We, as much as we can, have got to sort of put that to one side for now, get behind the club, and then sort of debrief end of the season when we're hopefully still a National League South side.
Yeah, I can't disagree with a word you said there. I thought everyone to a man yesterday raised their game a little bit. I thought Quickie was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Obviously, George done what George does when he's given that bit of a role. And I think it works so well as well when you had yesterday, we had May and Eastman in the centre there, and it just allows Grouty that little bit of freedom in front, and he's all over the place, and then he becomes hard work. And I think obviously Torquay would have done their homework on what we are as a side and how we've been playing. They would have been expecting to play, obviously, Tommy again. And pretty much similar with Dorking, although we know Dorking are in a a bit of a situation at the moment with players. But they'd have done their homework on playing a Tommy team, and all of a sudden it wasn't. It was Robbie, and we know Robbie. He just he had to. To me, I mean, I think both games were free kicks. Really, if we win, if we won yesterday. If we lose to Dorking on Tuesday, I don't see that as a problem. I'd love to win, of course I do. I want to take 3 points, but Dorking are top of the league. All right, they've got a few players out at the moment. We've just got to look at it that we had 13 games, but the first 2 of them 13 games was against the teams that are second and first in the league, and we were bottom. It's not something that turns out. We've got 3 points out of that. I'm sure Tom, in a minute when we ask him, will say that his players weren't as up to it. maybe there was a bit of both there, because I thought we were far better yesterday than we've seen in recent days, and whether that was because um, players didn't have that cloud over their head, maybe Tommy was struggling with, um, you know, he was trying to turn it round and he couldn't, and he might have been struggling. We don't know what the internal workings are, and we never will know. We never know what goes on at training and what's going on. But look, Tommy went, and yeah, Robbie took over, and that was it. And I thought we were brilliant yesterday. Tom, your thoughts? Obviously, you're on the other side of that.
Yeah, bottom of the table team, check. Start slow, check. Concede soft goals, check. And blowing a title race, check. Typical Torquay. We were rocked by the news that, well, there was talks that Jordan Young wasn't going to be fit, who's been one of the absolute standouts for us this season, and that came to pass on Saturday. The team lineup did raise a few eyebrows from us, just in terms of just couldn't quite work out what formation we were going to play, but we ended up going back into our normal 4-2-3-1 formation. But that game just reeked of danger the moment that you sacked Tommy Woodington. It was just, we lost to Chippenham a few weeks ago away from home, and we were the better team by far, didn't take our chances, and we got caught in the last 10 minutes. And you get that, and I accept that. But that performance from the majority of the lads on yesterday was absolutely diabolical. I mean, yes, you've got the new manager bounce. Yes, you've got, a club that's fighting for their lives. And I think I referenced it last week, saying that, every team in the division, whether you're first to 24th, you're all fighting for something, and you've got to be professional in the way we play. And we just weren't. I mean, the first goals, poor. We've lost, Jordan Thomas has lost his man, which has led to the ball going into the box and going into the net. And then the rest of the goals we concede, I mean, they all come from mistakes from our end. I mean, it really is piss poor. And when you're in a title race and you look at the results at the top, Dorking dropped points. I think Worthing were the only other team in the top 7 to win. So it's a wasted opportunity from us, but we've done it far too often this season. And I'm afraid yesterday for me was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I don't see us having the mental bottle to win this league, or nor do I think that we're going to win a playoff round, because I just don't think that we're mentally there, which sounds ridiculous when you think that, we've been in the top 3 for most of the season. And, if you look at it from the outside, you think, well, what's he moaning about? He's second, like, get on with it. You know what I mean? But I've seen that game too many times, chaps. And, if we're going to get out of National League South this season, we can't be typical Torquay. We can't be doing well against the good teams and then coming away to the teams lower down in the division and struggling. We've lost 9 games this season. We lost 7 last season where we missed out on goal difference. We've lost 9. It's not good enough for Torquay United. The amount of money that we've put into the squad this summer, yes, we've had a lot of injuries, and that has obviously taken its toll with the first half of the season. But the goals we conceded were so poor and just took the game away from us. I mean, Sonny Blue Everton, I thought, was one of the very, very few players out on that pitch representing Torquay United who deserves any sort of praise. Scored both our goals, and he was just everywhere. And the others were all 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10s, dare I say maybe 2 out of 10s. That just wasn't good enough from us. And, it's just been a difficult week. Port Wotton's got manager of the month, and we've lost 2 and drawn 1. So enjoy that, James, for when Mark gets it next month. If you're in a title race, you can't be losing to bottom of the table, and we've done it too often this season. And sadly for me, it's really taken me down, because I'd like to think I'm quite an optimistic supporter at the best of times, and not to degrade anyone. Like, Torquay United is my one and only football club. I don't support a Premier League football club, so when we do lose, I do take it very personally. And yesterday was just a case of Eastbourne wanted it more than we did, and when that's the case, that's not good enough. They stayed overnight on the Friday night. They've come over on the Saturday, short journey from the hotel, and they serve us that. It's not good enough, and I'm still fuming because we've wasted another opportunity to close the gap on Dorking, who I think will run away with it now, because I think they've got the killer instinct and we don't.
Do you feel like maybe the players are getting complacent if you say you've lost to Chippenham, lost to us. Had a few performances now against sides that were down the bottom end of the table. I know Tunbridge came to you and at least got a point. I can't remember if it was a draw or a win Tunbridge got. Do you feel like complacency is maybe an issue in your side?
I think it's a little bit of what we said last time I was on, that a lot of teams do raise it against us because obviously Torquay United ex-Football League, big club, big fan base, big expectations, and they do want to get one over on us. But in the same breath, we're in the National League South as a National League South football club. Doesn't matter whether you're getting 3,500 through the door, whether you're getting 500 through the door. At the end of the day, we're a Step 6 National League South side, and we've got to take this division seriously. We can't go into games thinking we're going to smash teams. I definitely knew it wasn't going to be the same case as the home game we had against you, where we put 7 past you. It was never going to be that kind of game, and I think you played off our weaknesses, and we just underperformed. And you obviously had, you had no pressure really, did you? Let's be frank. You've just got rid of the manager. You're playing with freedom for the first time. You've got, the fans were fantastic. I thought from an Eastbourne side, very noisy, and supported their team really well. And it's never nice losing at this division from a Torquay perspective. Like I said, I've been a fan for over 20 years when we were in League One, League Two. So, it's hard to take defeats at this level, but that's part and parcel of the game. It's how you go about it and how you prepare. We went to Dorking earlier in the season, and Paul Watton got it absolutely tactically wrong from the start, and he openly admits it. And yeah, we've just had too many. Hemel away from home, we didn't turn up. Horsham, goalkeeping mistake in the last minute, lost there. There's just too many individual errors, and I just think you're not going to get away with that on a regular basis. And I mean, I'm staying in Worthing, so it's doing an Eastbourne Worthing Tuesday, on the Tuesday night, and it's just, I've got no confidence on Tuesday. I'm absolutely petrified, and I think if it's another heavy defeat there, then God, I just don't bear thinking about it. But that's the expectation I set this season. I've got very high standards for Torquay United, and I just personally feel that I think Dorking will run away with it just because someone like Mark White, he knows how to get the best out of his players. Like, he pushes his players really hard, and I just think Paul Watton lacks that this season. And for the first time supporting this club since he's come in, I'm questioning whether he's the right man for the job now to get us over the line, because I just think we're not going to do it this season.
Yeah, and I get what you say there about Mark. I mean, we interviewed him. If you haven't seen the podcast, go back. It's the last one we had him on Wednesday night, and he does seem, when you talk to him, even when you talk to him in the flesh, right? He's got that bit of, just that bit of being a lad about him, and I can see why the players do really respond to him. And I mean, obviously, James, you interview him all the time, so you'll know more about him when we come to you in a minute. But I think we probably were lucky to be playing you at that time, and that may have been part of the club's decision in getting rid of Tommy when they did. They may have looked at the next two and said, actually, do you know what? With Tommy, we probably lose them. With a new manager, we probably lose again. But do you know what? Just let's see what we can do. And I think we did raise a game. And I wonder if there was an element, Tom, as well. You can say, "Oh, forget about the last game," because it's never going to be the same. But in your players' heads, last time they played us, they beat us 7-0, right, and absolutely wiped the floor with us. And I just wonder if you need to be that right manager to get that out of certain players' heads. And maybe we all think that maybe Mark White would be the manager that would make the players forget about that. But if Paul Watton hasn't, then there could be one of that could be one of the issues. But obviously, let's be fair. I think we all sat here 10 months ago talking about who was going to win the league, right? With 3 other guys, and unfortunately, it was neither of us 3. So I think we all had high expectations this season because of last season, and at the moment you've been up there, but it's starting to falter. And I think because of what happened last season, if it was me in your position, I'd be panicking, I think.
Yeah, well, I suppose in a way, like, it's easy for me to say, oh, it won't have a bearing, the 7-0, but I suppose from an Eastbourne perspective, you use that as motivation, you use that as fuel. These lot turned us over in the last game. Let's stick it to them. Let's show them what we're about, and you certainly did. I mean, you guys were just fantastic, and you should have had more. To be honest, you should have had more. I mean, I spoke to Miles at halftime, and thinking back at it now, because I think I said at halftime I thought we'd have more of the chances, but looking back on it, I think maybe you had the clear cut
It was
chances in
fairly
that
even.
first half.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
think it was
that's
quite
my
even.
yeah, that's my yellow tinted glasses, mate. So won't worry about that too much. But yeah, it's just there's a lot. We've put a lot of money into the squad this summer, like a lot. I know we don't have the biggest wage bill in out of the top, say, I think we maybe have the fourth, fifth, sixth biggest budget in the league. So there's teams that are spending more than we are. But whenever Torquay United are in the National League South, the expectation from the fan base is we've got to go win it. You just have to. I mean, when you're getting crowds of 3,500, 4,000 on a regular basis at home, and then you see what we bring away from home, then there is an expectation in the fan base. And I know I said last time I was on, the Chippenham was our first defeat in 8 games or something, or since last year. But the last 3 games, we just haven't looked on it at all. And everyone has a bad spell, but we had a really bad spell at the beginning of the season until about November, where we started to kick up a few gears. But I just don't know. There's just doesn't feel right at the moment. And when you look at the stories of what happened yesterday with the supporters coach as well at the end, it's just really poor. Like, you wouldn't expect that from this football club in its new ownership, and it just reeks a little bit of entitlement, if you ask me. And I think, if we were saying it with my friends that staying here yesterday, if that decision was made, like if that was Mark White's, I'm sure Mark White would have said, no, we don't, absolutely not. Like, if you just lost 4-2 to the bottom team, you're lucky if you're walking home, let alone getting on a new coach. And someone should have said something, but at the end, if we win the game like we should have done, then it's a non-issue, is it? Let's be frank. If we win the game and then it's like, do you mind doing this for us? I'm sure it would have been an issue. But the fact that also they were 25 minutes late, the travel club getting to the game, so they missed the first 2 goals of the game because they got stuck in traffic somewhere on the 303. And I know the guy Mark who runs it, and he's a great chap, and I've known him for so long, and it's a slap in the face, if you ask me, to everyone who travels on a regular basis, because it's not the right message. Like, we're all been told, in it together. This is our football club. We're all together. And just yesterday, everything just felt wrong to me. And hopefully, an apology from the ownership comes the way to them, and maybe some money towards the next away game, potentially, maybe to even things out. Because at the end of the day, I think it was a really bad decision, and I'll stick with that. Got a good relationship with the people who run the football club, but at the end of the day, I will always be Torquay United first, and that decision was an absolute disgrace, and the fans deserve better than that.
Yeah,
Well said.
I totally agree. The fans are the lifeblood of any football club. We even Mark the other day, and let's be fair, if it wasn't for Mark, Dorking wouldn't be in existence. But even he said the other day, I'm only the custodian of this club, right? He's put millions of pounds into that club. But he said, I'm the custodian, I'm the guardian of this football club for the people that is going to be left behind, because these football clubs are here long before and long after the owners are in control. And yeah, that to me was, I mean, when I read that last night, I was shocked with it, to be fair. And I thought it was just someone having a joke, but obviously you've confirmed today.
But can I just say,
and that's
just for context, as we're recording now, like on the Sunday afternoon, 12:15, I don't know fully to the extent of what's happened, but I've got a pretty good idea of how it's happened. It may be once we get a few days beyond that, more will come out of this. But again, it's going viral. Like, it's on social media and it's popping up everywhere. I've had friends that know me for years messaging me saying, "Is this true? Is this true?" And at the end of the day, look, the ownership have been fantastic, right? They saved the football club, and they've really made it all about the fans and how they've run it and how open and honest they've been. But this yes, last night was a mistake on their part and it should never have happened. And even if a manager and a player, if I was a player or a manager, I'd say absolutely not. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve to have better legroom, because I think that was the main issue for the way back. They've travelled all this way. We've put on a crap performance. We don't deserve it. It's all about morals and setting the standards, and they've fallen well below of that yesterday, both on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I hope that more comes out about it, but I hope that you get it sorted as well, and I hope that the owners come out and do make a statement, because as we've all said, fans are the lifeblood, and need treating with the respect that they deserve, I suppose. So, Tom, just quickly with you move on to Worthing, who bounced back yesterday, beat Slough 4-1. You've already said you're not too positive about that. How do you see that going?
Well, look, whenever Torquay and Worthing play each other, it's normally fireworks. Like we've had some really high scoring games against them, and I'll always say in this division, I think Worthing are probably the best footballing side I've seen at this level, and I think I've said that every season we've played them, and I think it's testament to them that what they've built at Worthing now, especially. I mean, I remember, because I'm local, so I used to see Worthing quite a few times in their Ishbian days, and just the progression of the club and how the fan base has grown. It's like Dorking, in their fan base, how it's starting, how it's grown. I personally feel I had a feeling they would get the win over Slough yesterday, and maybe that's a good thing that they've got the goals out of the way now, and then on Tuesday they'll have another stinker. Yeah, it's interesting their form since the turn of the year, how it's dipped, like, because the football they play, and I mean they were well clear. They were clear, best goal difference out of everyone, and now they've fallen down a bit, but they're still a contender for the title, 100%. Personally, I think they will beat us on Tuesday. We need a reaction, but um, if you ask me now, it'd probably be 3-1 to Worthing would be my prediction. They've got some very good players. But it'd be a fantastic crowd, I think, at Woodside as well. Be a good atmosphere with that new stand that I think they're going to put us in on Tuesday night. Again, it's one of those. If we are a contender, we've got to be winning those against winning games against those that are around us. So we tend to do better against the better teams in this division. So let's see. There's still a while to go in this title race, and it's easy to get really down when you've had results like we had yesterday in the last couple of weeks. But you look at Dorking, still can't seem to win away from home. So there's a lot of injuries in the squad. So I'm trying to be optimistic as best I can, but they just seem to be able to grind out results. And I think their home form, I think 13 wins out of 15, James, if from memory. So I think that will get them over the line. To be honest, their home form, as bad as the pitch is at Meadowbank, they know how to play on it and make it an advantage. So I can honestly say I think if we do lose on Tuesday, that will be us out of the title race, and it's time for us to focus on playoffs, because we've got some tough games coming up as well. But our hatred of 3G and 4G pitches strikes again, and we've just got to hopefully be professional enough to get the job done, and hopefully the lads can drown out the negativity. But unfortunately, I'm not confident. But we'll see. We'll see. Football's a funny game, so just turn up, support the lads, and let's see. But if we do lose, then I'd say write us out for the title and just give James the trophy now, to be honest.
Well, I'm sure both James and Mark would accept that. But you spoke there about Worthing going clear and then sort of going on a bad run, and we can see visions and remember last season, when there were 6 teams, and we all said it in the run up to that last week. 6 teams, 7 teams, 8 teams could have probably won the league last year, and nobody seemed to want to do it. So I think that is a big thing that I think Mark will have his players. He'll have them remembering last year. He'll have them remembering the chances that that you had, and remembering the fact that Boreham Wood snuck into the playoffs at the bottom there and ended up not only going up but having such a great season this year. Top of the league they were at one point, and they're right up there. Whereas Truro, the team that won it, are obviously struggling a little bit. But then that I always thought they might with the distance that they had to go. So moving on to our game Tuesday, we'll come to you first, James. Obviously, you're down to the bare bones of players. I did message Mark White last night, told him I'm 53, 19 and a half stone, and I'll be blowing out my arse after 3 yards, but he still told me to get my boots on. So you might see a debut from me. But if you do, it'll be a red card within the first 10 seconds. And I'll probably crock one of your better players. Just to ensure 3 points for us. But
Hi guys, I'm Gary. I'm the owner of Polegate Car Sales. If you're looking to buy or sell your vehicle anywhere in the country, I am your man. We're open 7 days a week. Sunday is appointment only, but Ben works 6 till 10 any hour God sends. We look forward to seeing you soon.
So James, tell us about how you're coming into Tuesday. Obviously, Mark sounded very down yesterday on your interview with just the players and situation.
I know. I tried to be a bit more positive, and it's hard. It's one of them, isn't it? Yeah. 6 points clear, top of the table, but you've now suffered not just potential another injury to Niall McManus yesterday, but you've now got George Knight. He can play Tuesday, but then he's got 3-game ban for a red card. Brennan Camp's got 2 games out now because of reaching 10 yellows. So we had to have.
Can I just add, we're really not disappointed about Brennan not being able to play on Tuesday night. That's not disappointing for us, guys.
This is where you kind of have to show your mettle as a management team and as a squad, and also you have to kind of be patient and manage expectations of supporters, because you know that there's a. So I probably agree with what Tom said, but about Worthing, but I think that a fully fit Dorking squad, and to include some of the loan players that we've had this season as well, would probably, footballing wise, maybe be slightly above that. And they'd certainly have more experience and more nous as well, if you include people like Paul McCallum and people like that in that as well. But that's like version 1 of Dorking. Then you get version 2, where you start to lose some of those players through injuries. And then you get version 3, which is what it might well be against Eastbourne on Tuesday. It could well be a very, very unfamiliar back 4 in terms of a rare setup. That's just generally not how we play, but that might be something that he has to consider. It could even be a 5 across midfield and 1 up front, with what Mark likes to talk about as planned substitutions at some point as well. I just don't know how it's gonna line up really Tuesday. I guess it will be a case of seeing them tomorrow and seeing who can do what in terms of, can certain players do an hour? Can certain people only do half an hour? Things like that. It's not a great position to be in squad-wise, obviously. But obviously it's a nice position to be in league table-wise at the moment. Yeah.
Miles, your thoughts on Tuesday night?
Yeah, in a strange sort of way, I fancy us a bit now. But then, to be fair, I did say on the last podcast with Tom.
Is that because I'm having my Dorking debut, yeah?
Yeah, that is true, yeah. Might help. Where are you playing, Baz, by the way? You in the... Yeah.
What position are you going to play?
If you're centre half, mate, George licking his lips. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yeah. No, but
position.
No, but to be fair to myself, I think I said it on the podcast with Tom before the Torquay game and before the Chesham game. I said I fancy us against Dorking and Torquay more than I fancy us against Chesham. in a strange sort of way, especially at home, even though our home form's terrible, because we saw on Saturday yesterday that the fans got behind the side, and Torquay and Dorking are like, and Worthing probably are like our 3 cup finals of the year. Certainly, they're the 3 games that I sort of pick out at the start of the season where I'm looking forward to them. I'm up for them. It sort of feels a bit different, with the whole bunch of amateurs, Mark White scenario. I can tell you, our fans will definitely be up for it, especially after what happened yesterday. So I think that will really work in our favour. In Dorking, it's a great time to play them, like we were just saying there, with all the injuries. We saw how good even having Charlie Carter is. I mean, Charlie Carter pulled us apart in the away game. I think it was 4-2 in the end. Absolutely destroyed us. So just having like one less player of that quality, and no Brennan Camp, we can't really ask for a better time to get him to come to us. So from that sense, I'm positive. But I've got a couple of reasons to be concerned. One is because Eastman ran his socks off pretty much yesterday. He looked absolutely done in, and I'm not sure he can play Tuesday. It's the same intensity or the same amount of time. I thought Trusty did fairly well when he came on, to be fair to him, so hopefully he can step up. But we got a couple of players like him and May and Phipps just come back from injury, albeit it was a shoulder injury. But I'm just worried about how strong our depth is as well. We had a lot of centre backs on the bench yesterday. And then with respect to players like Taylor and Anoiki, we haven't really seen a lot from them so far, so I do worry about that. And then secondly, I hate to be down on any particular players, and I don't like calling players out, but Jamie Searle, keeper yesterday, had a poor game, and it would worry me. Going into Tuesday, I'd imagine Mark will be staying, put shots on him, take shots, test him, because the first goal because his frame and his lack of agility, I guess, he just struggles to get down to shots. So I think the first goal, in my opinion, was preventable. I think the likes of Faulty would have saved that for us previously. And then the second goal, I don't need to talk about it in great detail. I think anyone who's seen the highlights or was at the game yesterday can tell was a massive goalkeeping error. So yeah, that's a massive concern for me going into tomorrow, or Tuesday even. I know we've got Alex Hobden come back from Eastbourne United, but he's never played a game for us. Young goalkeeper. He's had a lot of praise from certainly clubs that have sort of played locally. He's played locally at like Bexhill and Eastbourne United now. I know he's done well for them, but it's a next step up playing in National League South in a relegation fight against a team top of the league, right? We saw it in the same game against Dorking last season when Finn Holter came in for us in the 2-2 draw. I thought he did fairly well, to be fair to him, but he did make that high-profile error when he gave the ball to Matt Briggs and Dorking opened the scoring. There's my 2 areas of concern, but definitely it's nice to be buoyed as a fan base, going around reading the forum, the chats, etc. People do feel like we can get out of it, and it's only 2 points now, which is nice. Bath have like 5 games in hand, but then when this situation, this pickle last time, Taunton had the same situation and they absolutely crumbled. So all we've got to do is just keep the momentum going. We'll take a point on Tuesday, but if we can get 3, absolutely excellent. We're banging it if we can get the win. So looking forward to it, mate, which is nice because I never look forward to us playing this season, really. So it makes a change.
Don't be too harsh on the goalkeeper. Sorry, I was going to say, don't be too harsh on the goalie because the conditions down that end it was a hell of a wind down there.
The wind was bad, but yeah.
Oh,
and Sonny Blue,
Arsenal fans the other night.
Yeah, Priory Lane, mate. Priory Lane is like a wind tunnel.
And to be fair to Sonny Blue as well, Sonny Blue tried it earlier on and had it just over, so he was planning that from the start of the second half. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Like at the end of the day, it was difficult conditions for both, and you guys played the conditions better than we did.
Respectfully, Tom, there's 2 things there.
Checking the weather for Tuesday night here.
There's 2 things there, mate.
Very, very windy.
2 things there, mate. One, Priory Lane is always windy, so I feel like if anyone's going to play it well, it's us, because we should be used to it by now. And secondly, I think Searle played the FA Trophy game against Dorking. Didn't play particularly well. I think Denon Lewis swung a cross in and he completely missed it. We've had a bit of history with Searle this season. And like I said, I hate digging players out, but I feel like it's got to be said. we've seen so many times where he's just not really put any confidence into the fan base. Unfortunately, Ox said it when he came on. The goalkeeper's like it's like whack-a-mole, trying to get one that's just decent. I mean, like Sells shot on ability when it comes to like those camera saves, if you like, is very good because of his frame. But kicking, getting down low for shots, etc. I just not confident in his abilities.
Yeah, and I think that was also obviously part of last week. We lost Woody back to Ipswich. He was recalled on loan.
Yeah, big blow.
And obviously Josh was allowed to go. Went to Gateshead for an undisclosed fee because he put in a transfer request. We lost a couple of players last week as well, so I'm not sure if they'll look at replacing him. As far as the goalie, I actually thought they might give Alex Hobden a chance, to be fair. I understand he's only been playing at Eastbourne United, but he's kept a lot of clean sheets. And I think, when a goal scorer is in form, it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. They've been scoring goals, so they're in the habit of shooting. And I think the same is to be said of a goalkeeper. I do understand that you're going to have better players shooting at you, but you can't tell me that out of all them clean sheets that he's kept down at Eastbourne United, there's some good footballers in the lower league. Footballers are not really bothered about playing at a higher level. They just want to play as close to home as they can. And I bet he saved some fantastic shots in that time. Probably shots that we would expect to see our top strikers facing shooting every single week. So I think, when you come to someone like a centre forward themselves, you need to be a level if you're playing up that level. But for stepping in for a game or stepping in for a couple of games, any striker who's in form is good, right? How many players have you seen jump up 2 or 3 steps and carry on scoring goals? It's a confidence game. And I think the same with a goalkeeper as well. If you're confident and you're directing your defenders, and especially when you've got players like Phipps as captain in front of him, and players like that, I think they can help him out. So I wouldn't have been disappointed to see Hobden in goal. I wouldn't be disappointed to see Hobden in goal on Tuesday night. I believe that the manager hadn't actually had a chance to see him in a game. Robbie hadn't had a chance to see him in a game, which is why he didn't want to put him in. But I'm not sure that was only talk on the terraces. But if that's the case, I understand that. But yeah, so I wouldn't have been shocked to see him in. So,
I hope he starts, Baz.
Yeah,
I hope he gives him a chance.
Yeah, well, I'm quite...
I think it's fair enough he didn't want to chuck him in sort of first game. I understand that Sells the second choice goalkeeper, but yeah, I'd love to see Hobden get a chance. And Bexhill United is my local team, as it were. So I've been down there a few times, and he has played for Bexhill when I've seen him play. And it's a league where in the Sussex County Prem, which James would know more than we would, those sort of lower leagues, it's a rough league. You've got a lot of players that are just physical, units essentially. So, from what I could see, he acquitted himself well. It's not an easy place to play, on muddy pitches, especially down the Polegrove. So yeah, I'd like to see him get a chance on Tuesday.
And I'd certainly agree with that as well. I think when you play at them lower leagues, your Sussex County leagues and places like that, or Sussex combination as they want to call it now, bravery is a big thing that you learn in them games because the referees are not of the standard. They're not of the standard where they see the elbows going in and they see stuff that's happening. And so, yeah, and bravery is a big part of a goalie, right? A goalie that doesn't mind getting in there and diving down at people's feet and getting involved in it. And they do get that little bit more protection, obviously, at our levels. Anyway, thanks, guys. I know we've all got other stuff to be doing today, so thanks for coming on. Thank you to our sponsors, Polegate Car Sales, again. Without your support, obviously, this channel wouldn't be as good. James, we'll see you on Tuesday night. Look forward to it. Tom, good luck at Worthing. Just beat him anyway, because we don't
please
like
beat him, Tom.
You put 5 past Dorking.
Everyone wants.
Put 5 past Dorking, and then that'd be great.
Oh no.
Well, how about that? I mean, depends if I'm playing or not. If I'm
might leak 8
7,
in the back with Barry, but
big 7. It'd be 3 own goals. 3 own goals. We'll be 3-0 up in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, guys. See you all. See you Tuesday, James. Nice to see you again yesterday, Tom. No doubt we will catch up at some point towards the end of the season again. Maybe we'll do a "Where Should We Have Been" podcast for the 6 of us again, which would be quite funny. So thanks for coming on, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and see you all soon.
See ya. Cheers, Barry.
Thank you.
Up sports.